From here, the aircraft will lie to investigators that the plane can land in the Ganges or the Andaman Sea, while its real intention is to take the plane to India, one of the worst oceans in the world. And the plane cannot be guessed that it has been identified by the satellite system on the aircraft. 2 hours and 25 minutes, suddenly the satellite system's SACOM activity returned to normal. SACOM sent a request for registration. This happened more than an hour after going through Ugari. It is necessary to know that SACOM operates according to a rule. That is, after an hour of not receiving a signal, it will send a message. The plane landing in the Indian Ocean has been proven by IMEX. The satellite company said they had identified the direction of the Boeing 775-20R due to the sudden effect of the sound of ping coming out of the plane. Although the MH370's main communication and reporting system has been turned off, one of the satellites of IMA-XAT continues to receive 7 automatic ping from the plane. The last signal recorded was at 8:11 p.m. on March 8th. By analyzing these ping signals, experts in the investigation team on the accident of the AAIB plane have concluded that the plane really flew at least 7 hours. It flew along the southern corridor towards the Indian Ocean and fell to a location of the 7th round in the western region of Perth, Australia, at a depth of more than 4,000 meters. To reinforce the above order, experts also asserted that the aircraft was equipped with an underwater radar that could ping up to 40 days after the accident. If 3 strong pings occur, it can create a sound recorded by an underwater device called a hydrophone. And then, some of the sound signals are said to be from the MH370. After identifying the plane that fell in the Indian Ocean, the Australian Coast Guard, the Malaysian Navy, Indonesia, and the U.S. Air Force, together with some countries, began to organize a search operation, with the largest size, the most expensive price to find the MH370. Although there was no final result, some fragments are said to have been found in the aircraft. On July 29, 2015, the first fragments filled with pings fell on the coast of La Réunion, the small island of the Indian Ocean, 700 kilometers from Madagascar to the east. The serial number is still intact, allowing investigators to confirm that it is a wing of the 777 aircraft. Many other fragments have also been found on the seasides in South Africa, Madagascar, and Mozambique, with a total number of up to 41 fragments. Those fragments are seen to have confirmed that the MH370 actually met an accident in the south of the Indian Ocean. So far, there are a lot of people who are giving up. The real fame of the enemy is the one who stole the plane and tried to throw it into the sea. If it's a terrorist organization, they won't hesitate to take responsibility and pose a threat to global security. And if the plane failed to learn the technique, it wouldn't have been able to fly that far. And the fact of being lost in another space or being trapped in space is an exaggerated theory. In fact, right at the time of the accident, a lot of pilots, former pilots and experts, even the Australian Prime Minister, agreed with the point of view that the Chief of Staff, Jahari Amasa, was not in the story. As I said before, the chief was really having problems with his soul. He may have stolen the plane for suicide. One proof of this is that right after the MH370 was lost, a complicated flight simulation device of Microsoft was found at the chief's house. A report by the Australian Transport Safety Agency, ATSB, announced that 6 weeks before the flight, someone had deliberately used the simulation device to fly along a route very similar to the route of the MH370 to the Malacca Sea, then left to the south of the Indian Ocean, and finally ended up running out of fuel. This is really not a conclusion to make. In fact, in 2015, on Germany's 925th aircraft, due to a serious and self-destructive accident, the aircraft's engine ducked out of the cockpit and tried to make the plane crash into the mountains, causing all passengers to die. The more convincing it is, the MH370's pilot has very familiar skills about planes and airfields, things that no one in the field can have outside the cabin. It is very possible that he asked his pilot to go out of the cabin to get his drink and then lock the door, then perform his action. That is also why the pilot cannot return to his position, so he has to try to perform rescue operations on the ground. In the case of a plane robber who is not the captain, it is certain that he must be the one who has been trained very carefully, a master of technology who is put on board the plane and performs the robbery. Or according to some sources, Saya himself used his own tracking system to control the MH370. But what is the purpose here is only understood by the Chinese. In the MH370 documentary, Netflix has tried to make up for the loss of the plane, but has never mentioned that the captain tried to use it to commit suicide. They even say that Vietnam has not participated in the search for the MH370, while Vietnam is one of the first countries to participate in this activity. Finally, remember that the captain or anyone controlling the plane may be suspicious, but the plane has been deliberately linked to the ground and washed into the sea is the most popular theory in terms of aviation and science. Countries will never spend a huge amount of money to find a vast ocean if that is meaningless. In fact, they soon have their own answers. Hopefully, after a decade of disappointment, up to 10 years after the disappearance, the VKSPR new positioning technology once again proved the fate of the MH370. In August 2023, Richard Godfrey, an American astronaut, used to work with NASA, Boeing, Airbus, along with colleagues like Dr. Hannett Coetzee and Professor Simon Markell. With the support of the British University of Liverpool, he claimed to have used the VKSPR technology to find the MH770. VKSPR is a weak signal radio system with China Propagation Reporter using high-level power transmission methods to send signals around the world. The power level is between 3 MHz to 28 MHz. The transmission rate is up to 5 watts in a row, and the transmission time is 110.6 seconds. In a 229-page report, researchers said that the technology had been developed over the past 4 years, and the results showed significant new evidence. They are compatible with analysts from Boeing and the University of Western Australia on the data collected around the Indian Ocean. It should be noted that when a plane flies over the VKSPR, it will mislead the signal, and these records are stored in the global database. A Dutch expert has confirmed 130 errors in the VKSPR signal in southern India. He believes this is evidence of the final flight path of the MH370. The collision ended at a point just outside the 7th round, in an area that had not been carried out by any previous search activity. The new location of the plane is also at a depth of 4,000 meters, 1,560 kilometers to the west of Australia. To experiment, Godfrey conducted a flight by an experienced pilot, flying around the Indian Ocean at a different speed and altitude in order to avoid being detected. After that, a false crash was carried out. The VKSPR data analysis results show that the real crash and the false crash are only 30 kilometers apart. Richard told the BBC that only one more search, they will definitely discover the MH370. On March 8, 2024, on the occasion of the 10th anniversary, the Malaysian government announced the restart of the search for the MH370, the purpose of which is to create the cause, with an accurate answer to the identity of the victims. Transportation Minister Anthony Locker said they would invite the U.S. company Ocean Infinity, a company that has pledged to use new analysis and advanced technology in a hurry, without losing money in the efforts to capture the MH370. In addition, another company, Deep Sea Vision, which is listed in the U.S., will send a proposal for the search for the Malaysian government in the middle of the year. Recently, this company paid attention to the fact that when their team explored the deep sea, it claimed to have photographed the super shadow image of the personal aircraft of Amalaya Air Herd, which was lost in the center of the Pacific Ocean 87 years ago. And certainly the world has the right to hope that the MH370 will be found in the near future. Please subscribe to Lala School channel to not miss the fascinating videos.